Welcome to this video. We shall discuss Ernest Rutherford atomic model. Ernest Rutherford atomic model. The reason behind this model is that Ernest Rutherford want to what? Know the distribution of charges, and he want to know the structure of atom. The reason behind Ernest Rutherford atomic model is that he wanted to know the distribution of charges, and he wanted to know the structure of atoms. These are the two reasons behind Ernest Rutherford experiment. He wanted to know the distribution in the word atom, and he wanted to know the structure of the atom. He later discovered three things. He later discovered that atom contain nucleus. That atom contain what? Nucleus. And he revealed that proton can be found in the nucleus. That means the three things he discovered. He discovered nucleus, and which is what? The center of the atom. He discovered that there's nucleus in the center of the atom. That means he discovered nucleus, and he revealed that proton can be found in the nucleus. He also discovered that electron revolves around the nucleus at high speed. Another thing is discovered that most spaces in atom are empty. These are the three things he later discovered. Don't forget, I told you the reason he performed his own experiment. He wanted to know the distribution of the charges, and he wanted to know the structure of what? Atom. And he later discovered these three things. He discovered what? Nucleus, and he revealed that proton can be found inside nucleus, that electron revolves around the nucleus, most spaces inside what? Atom are what? Empty. These are the three things he discovered. These are the things he wanted to know. And take note, he was the first person that explained the structure of atom. Take note of that. Rutherford, note. He was the first person, he was the first scientist, the first person to explain the structure of atom. He was the first man to explain the structure of atom. Then let us look at his experiment. Ernest Rutherford experiment. The experiment is known as what? Alpha scattering experiment. The experiment can be called alpha scattering experiment. JAM student, take note of that. 100 level student, take note of that. JUPEP student, take note of that. YS student, take note of that. His experiment is known as what? It's known as alpha scattering experiment, which can also be called The experiment can also be called gold foil experiment. Gold foil experiment. The experiment can also be called Gilgal Marvin experiment. Take note of this. Take note of this. Ernest Rutherford experiment can be called alpha scattering experiment, which can also be called gold foil experiment, I will explain, which can also be called Gilgal Marvin's experiment. These are two of his people. Gilgal and Marvin, he instructed them to what? Perform the experiment. That means it can be called Gilgal Marvin experiment, alpha experiment, gold foil experiment, alpha scattering experiment. Because he used alpha, he bombarded gold foil with alpha particle. He bombarded gold foil with alpha particle. Let me quickly explain the experiment in 3 to 4 minutes. Let me quickly explain the experiment in 3 to 4 minutes. Take note of this. You have a box that is made of lead. This box is made of lead. Inside the box, there is polonium. Polonium is inside the box. What is the function of polonium? Polonium produces alpha particle. Hey, they can ask you that during in Ernest Rutherford experiment, why did he use polonium? Because polonium produces alpha particle. This is polonium, 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 polonium. Polonium produces what? It produces alpha particles. Polonium produces alpha particles. And he put the poloniums inside what? Lead balls. A balls that is made of lead. Why? The lead balls, don't forget, lead absorb alpha. The function of this lead balls is to absorb alpha particles. Is to absorb the alpha particles. Am I communicating? He used polonium because polonium produces alpha particle. Then he put the polonium inside lead balls. The lead absorb alpha particle. It doesn't want the alpha to scatter around in the balls. That is why he used lead balls, because the lead will absorb little part of the alpha particle. And take note, the alpha particle is of helium nuclei. Take note of that. The alpha particle is helium nuclei. The alpha particle is helium, not helium atom. It's helium nuclei. That is helium nucleus. Helium nuclei. The alpha particle is helium nuclei, or helium nucleus, not helium atom. The alpha particle is helium nuclei. Then he used gold foil. Why did he use gold? Why did Ernest Rutherford use gold? Because gold is the most malleable metal. Take note of that. Gold is the most malleable metal. The most malleable metal is gold. The alpha particle can easily pass through it. Take note of that. Then we have screen. The screen is made of zinc sulfide. The screen is made up of zinc sulfide. I told you the function of this screen, zinc sulfide, so that when particle hit it, it will produce fluorescent. It will glow. That is the function. Then what happened? He bombarded this was gold foil, which was alpha particle of helium nucleus. He bombarded this was gold foil with alpha particle of what? Helium nucleus. Then what happened? Most alpha particle pass through the gold foil. Most of them pass through the what? Gold foil. While some of them are deflected at a large angle. Some of them are deflected at a large angle. While few of them return to the source. Few of them return to the source. Take note of that. Take note of this. When he bombarded the gold foil with alpha helium nucleus, most of the alpha passed through the gold foil undeviated. Most of the world, alpha, this is the symbol of alpha, take note. Alpha helium pass through the world gold foil undeviated. That is up to 99.8% of it pass through it undeviated. Then another thing, some of the alpha helium nucleus or helium nuclei, some of the alpha helium nuclei were deviated at a large angle. While few of alpha helium particle return to the source. Take note of that. That is the experiment of Ernest Rutherford. You gold foil. Why? Because gold foil is one most malleable metal. Gold is the most malleable metal. Alpha can easily pass through it. He used polonium because polonium can produce alpha helium nucleus. Then he put the polonium inside the lead balls because the lead can absorb alpha particle. Take note of that. Then when he bombarded the gold foil, large portion of it, approximately 99.8% of it, passed without deviated. Then some of the alpha particle were deviated at a huge angle. Then few return. Then what is the conclusion of this man? The conclusion of this man is that atom contain a central particle known as nucleus. That atom has a nucleus, which is the positive core of an atom. That inside an atom there is positive core, which is known as nucleus. And most spaces in the atom are empty. That most spaces in the atom are empty. That is the conclusion of Ernest Rutherford. Then let us go to his atomic model. Please, you can pause the video and look at this and write it up. Look at that and write it up. Look at that and write it up. Before we go to the atomic model of Ernest Rutherford. Okay, let's move. Let's move. Yeah, yeah. Let's look at this. Ernest Rutherford atomic model. Number one. Number one. Number one. It said that electron revolves round the nucleus, round the nucleus at a very high speed. At a very high speed. That electron revolve round the nucleus at what high speed. Take note of that. Number two. Number two. Number two. It says that the number of electrons is the same to the number of proton. Is the same to the number of proton. Is the same to the number of proton. The same to the number of proton. Take note of that. That means atoms are electrically what? Neutral. Number three, he said that atoms are electrically neutral. They are electrically neutral. Number four, most spaces in an atom are empty. They are empty. They are empty. Number five, it said that nucleus is smaller in size compared to an atom. Take note of that nucleus is smaller in size compared to an atom. That is smaller in size compared to an atom. Take note of that. Take note of that. Number six. Let's look at the number 6. I hope you've written this. Number 6. It says atoms consist of a positive core known as nucleus, which is responsible for the mass of the atom. That means the mass of an atom is concentrated at the center of the atom. A nucleus can be found at the center of an atom. Nucleus is located at the center of an atom. And mass of an atom is concentrated inside the nucleus. Mass of an atom is concentrated at the center inside the nucleus. That means atom consists of a positive core known as nucleus. Nucleus is a positive core which is responsible for mass of an atom. Mass of an atom is concentrated at the nucleus of an atom. inside, in between the nucleus of an atom. I mean, in between, inside the nucleus of an atom. Let's move further. Next one. 7. He calculated the radius of an atom. He calculated the radius of an atom. Yes. He discovered the radius of an atom. He discovered the radius of an atom. And he said that, number 7, the positive charge of an atom is heavy. Is heavy. Is heavy. Number 8, he calculated the radius of an atom. 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 Or I can say he calculated the radius of a nucleus. Nucleus. He calculated the radius of a nucleus of an atom. He calculated the radius of a nucleus of an atom. These are the atomic model of Rutherford. Just take note of this. The first man that explained the structure of an atom, Ernest Rutherford. He used alpha scattering experiment. That means the alpha produced helium nucleus or helium nuclei, which is plural. Not helium atom, helium nucleus. Take note of that. He discovered the nucleus of an atom. That the nucleus of an atom is a positive core. Take note. And he revealed that proton is inside the nucleus of an atom. And he discovered that electron revolve around the nucleus in form of a solar system. Then he now said most spaces in an atom are empty. Take note of that. And take note of this. The idea, note, jam is there in jam. Note, the idea of planetary of atom is Ernest Rutherford. Is Ernest Rutherford idea. Take note of that. It's Ernest Rutherford idea. The idea of planetary of atom is Ernest Rutherford idea. That question came out 2012 in UTME. The idea of planetary is of atom is Ernest Rutherford idea. You could not explain. The only thing is that you could not explain the structure very well. You could not explain it very well. Take note. You could not explain it very well. The idea is Ernest Rutherford idea. The idea is Ernest Rutherford idea. Ernest Rutherford idea. The idea of planetary of atom is Ernest Rutherford idea. But who proposed that idea? Nebo 2023 jam. 2023 jam. Proposed. If they ask you who proposed that idea of planetary, is Nebo. Nebo proposed that idea. But the idea is Ernest Rutherford. The person that proposed is Nebo. The idea of planetary of atom is Ernest Rutherford. It's just that you cannot explain the stability of atom. You could not explain the stability of atom. The idea is Ernest Rutherford idea. The person that proposed it is Nebo. Take note of that. Then let's move further. The idea, I repeat, the idea is Ernest Rutherford. The idea of planetary of atom is Ernest Rutherford. Let's move to the limitation. Limitation of this model. 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 Number one, limitation. Number one, he could not explain the stability of atom. He could not explain the stability of atom. Number two, he could not explain the line spectrum. The line spectrum of hydrogen. He could not explain the line spectrum of hydrogen. And in this atomic model, since he could not explain the stability of atom, the way he explained atom as if the electron can fall into what? The nucleus. As if the electron can fall into the nucleus. Take note of that. The limitation, you could not explain the stability of atom. You could not explain the line spectrum of hydrogen. Take note of that. Please don't forget to like this video, share this video, comment, share it with your friend. Then if you need any physical class, you can call one of the two numbers on the board. I rename myself Jama.